Solo is not a top guy.
It's beyond
Can we say
that.
that?
But I agree. Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, the fans miss Roman already.
Hi, Spencer Cheap Pops. You're on the air.
Since we're now on WWE, one storyline that did happen that got accentuated at Backlash, which, by the way, we were both 5-0. No surprises there. The surprise of the night was all of us are expecting Jacob Fatu to show up. And instead of Jacob Fatu, it is the God partner of Tama Tonga, his brother, son of Haku, Tangaleo.
Perineum.
Tangalao is his name.
That's it. There you
go. Tangalao. And so, by the way, their brother, Hikaleo, just won the IWGP Tag Team Championships with a guy I'm a big fan of, El Phantasmo. So they're actually God now, which is weird, but I digress. Yeah. But the original God is now in WWE. Tangaleo had his shot, his big debut that he fucking botched. Fucking guy botches his fucking debut. The referee's counting 1, 2, and the referee pushes himself out. Great job by the referee. But Tangaleo shows up, he debuts, and now we have this current Bloodline is more Bullet Club than it is Bloodline, isn't it? 2/3 of it.
There's a lot of pieces there, man, in terms of the Bullet Club.
You could make a faction of the Bullet Club now. Legitimately. Finn, AJ, and those two dudes.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Gallows and Anderson because anyone cares.
Well, fans of their comedy will be living it up at that moment.
They're DOA, aren't they? Holy shit.
Yeah.
They're not even over in fucking NXT. Get Gallows out of here. He can't work. But so that was a big moment. And now you look at the Bloodline where you have God now, Tangaleo, Tama Tonga, and now Solo Sikoa as the meat and potatoes of the Bloodline, with Paul Heyman seemingly not in the know. And as we saw this past week on SmackDown, Solo Sikoa is now the acting member, the acting tribal chief. And the thing is that Paul Heyman came out and said he hasn't spoken to Roman Reigns, and he pulled him because he hasn't spoken to him. Solo has now said that he has spoken to Roman Reigns, and he has dubbed him the tribal chief, the interim tribal chief, I guess would be the best way to call it, which Solo's lying about. It's clearly The Rock is the guy. I think we both think that. I think I know you definitely think that. Where do you think this Bloodline goes? I think it's pretty obvious, which is the only danger I see in this storyline, that it's really obvious where they're going. Really obvious for me. So I hope they have a surprise or a wrinkle or a curveball somewhere in the midst of this, because I think we all think that The Rock is going to come back and be the tribal chief. Roman's going to come back with the Usos, and then you're going to have Usos. You're going to have the Usos and Roman versus God and Solo Sikoa, and maybe that's when Jacob Fatu shows up, or maybe that's where The Rock shows himself as to be the real tribal chief who's making the calls. I'm not sure, but the thing is where most people think it's going. Vladi Dottie, what do you think of this Bloodline storyline, where we're headed, what we're going to do, and is it going to work if it's really obvious where they're going?
You know what? I don't know how obvious. I think it'll be obvious because we're headed towards a civil war. So, okay, who's the participants here with them, and what sides are they on? Which is really what we're going to look at. And what it comes down to is Solo is completely full of shit. He hasn't talked to Roman. Roman hasn't talked to anybody. Your truth meter, your barometer of honesty there is, of all people, Paul Heyman. Ironically enough. So you have a scenario there where Solo is taking over. He's got God backing him. Heyman doesn't know how to read them. Heyman sort of needs them. They're picking up on Heyman making eyes at Jay, almost like a signal of help. I need help with this guy. He's out of his mind. And what I think will happen is eventually Roman will return. And one of the things that has been obvious when anytime there's Solo has a microphone in front of him, the crowd is already chanting, "We want Roman."
Solo is not a fucking top guy.
It's beyond.
Can we say
that? I agree. Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, the fans miss Roman already.
The thing is, Solo's doing, and I'm sure this is on purpose. He's doing his best version of Roman. With when he actually called Paul Heyman out and he said, "I love you, wise man. I love you." Very reminiscent of how Roman treated Paul Heyman in times of strife.
Right.
So, but the thing is, Solo is not the guy. And I don't know if they're trying to make him the guy or trying to build him as a top heel.
He's the guy's puppet. He's the Rock's puppet. So basically, Roman will come back, and he'll be there with the wise man, and then Roman will call out Solo in front of everybody. Say, "Why did you lie?" And accuse him, and that's when they'll go and drop the bit about the Rock, and maybe that's where you see Jacob Fatu going and attacking Roman. Maybe it's all four of them going at Roman. Jacob
Fatu's going to be a big-time star, by the way.
Yeah, and then you're already seeing, I don't know how. Let me put it this way. We see rumors, and, either you can call bullshit or not care about them. But there's certain rumors where you say, and you look at them, and you could say, yeah, I could see that. And one of the things I saw this week was that WWE is a little bit concerned about how Jacob Fatu will go and basically look next to Solo and maybe steal his thunder.
And he would. I
definitely could see that. Yes.
Because they both have that Umaga vibe where they're these Samoan destruction machines. And but Jacob Fatu can cut a promo, and he does moves that Rob Van Dam does. Yeah. He does things that Solo hasn't even attempted. I mean, what does Solo do? A splash onto a table? What makes Solo special? I'm not trying to bury the kid. He's young.
Yeah.
But what makes him special right now to the point where he should be in this position? Because right now, SmackDown doesn't have a top heel. They don't have no top heels on SmackDown, which is why we got to turn LA Knight heel.
But yeah, so this is one of the things to consider now as we're looking at this Bloodline Civil War. And what I think we're going to start realizing is when The Rock is away, doesn't necessarily mean that The Rock is away. He's still watching. He still has puppets there. And this is going to be part of his brilliance, if you will. So, honestly, it's going to be pretty cool, I think, when Roman returns. And that crowd is going to show him, of all things, love. It's crazy, and he hasn't even been gone for all that long.
I mean, they're chanting, we want Roman a lot. They even chanted during a Cody Rhodes, or they said, thank you, Roman. The respect that Roman has now with the crowd is at an all-time high. Everyone that took part in that storyline closing at WrestleMania, we all know it's a work. We all know it's a TV show. So everyone knows how important Roman was to that because he was the one that we hated so much and wanted that title off of him so much. So I think it's a very beautiful thing that he's getting his flowers now. He's been doing it for a decade. He's been in that company more than a decade. And he's been a top guy for about a decade. In 5 years, he was entertaining with it. But it's been the most recent 5 years. And Roman, the guy's great. And when he comes back, the appreciation he's going to feel is going to be something that he's never experienced before in his whole career, which he deserves. And so does Seth Rollins when he comes back as well. It's just everyone who took part in that storyline toward the end was instrumental in what they did. And it was one of the greatest moments in wrestling history, whether you want to admit it or not, whether Cody is a great champion or Roman didn't defend his title. It doesn't matter. That moment at WrestleMania 40 was one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. And I don't care what anyone says, because it gets you here. It got millions of people right here. Thank you so much for watching High Spots and Cheap Pops. For Vladi Dottie, this is Silicon Steve Alley. Hit the subscribe button and let us know what you think. Thank you for watching, and here endeth the lesson.